really getting at here is that while casting a wider net is great to pull new viewers into a show, and I'll welcome any attempt to get new fans interested in MST3K, I think Universal did the movie a disservice by not pandering to the target audience.
With a bigger budget and more room to work, Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, should have been Mystery Science Theater 3000, but bigger and better. But with all the creative restrictions and time constraints in place, what resulted was kind of a less-than-average episode of the show that nobody involved is proud of. I'm pretty surprised, very grateful, but still surprised, that the movie even got a Blu-ray release. It certainly didn't have this financial support when it was released in theaters. Gramercy Pictures had 2 films debuting the weekend MST3K opened, that and Barbed Wire. They threw all their advertising budget at Barbed Wire, and as a result, MST3K bombed at the box office. Nobody went to see it because they either didn't know about it or lived too far away from the nearest theater that was showing it. But in a bout of laser-guided karma, MST3K the movie had the highest per-theater average this opening weekend, higher than any other movie in the country. And Kevin Murphy notes that because of such a low initial investment, Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, probably made Gramercy lose much less money than Barbed Wire did.
Not only was it a box office failure and a huge disappointment for a lot of fans, it was a thoroughly unpleasant experience for the creative team.
Mystery Science Theater 3000 is one of the most unique television shows ever created, and that's what fans love about it. Not only was the theatrical release not up to snuff by the standards the Best Brains had set, it actually tore the crew apart. Creative differences over the film forced Joel out, and the movie ultimately ended up driving away the last remaining survivor from the KTMA days, Traceable You, Crow puppeteer and series antagonist Dr. Forrester. Though it really isn't surprising when you consider that Dr. Forrester's role in the film was tremendously downplayed thanks to notes from test audiences who apparently hated Dr. F and wanted to see a lot less of him. Although, to be fair, even I find Dr. Forrester a little much in the movie, and I love his character in the show. I don't know if this was more executive meddling, if Universal thought Forrester might be more palatable if they changed his character. Well, anyway, in the show, Dr. Forrester and TV's Frank are nowhere near diabolical. They're definitely more mad than scientists, but they're not incompetent. Dr. Forrester's intro in the movie is pretty much perfect, but after that he kind of turns into a bumbling idiot. Honestly, it was kind of hard to watch what they'd done to his character, and I don't blame Trace at all if the film really was why he left. With Trace gone, there was a huge void to fill on the show. The Best Brains didn't have to look far for a new villain. They found one in Clayton's mother, Pearl Forrester, played by Mary Jo Pehl, who'd been a writer since the beginning and, like Mike, had made a number of cameo appearances, as well as providing the voice for Magic Voice since Season 4.
Commercial sign in 2 minutes.
Say, Magic Voice.
No, Tom, I won't. Well, actually, I can't. I have no physical form.
Recasting Crow was a bit trickier, as it was still the same character, and led to a lot of jokes like this.
Well, your voice is going to change inexplicably every 7 years or so.
Crow, your voice kind of sounds different. Wow, weird.
Best Brains chose writer Bill Corbett, who also began playing alongside Kevin Murphy as one of Pearl's goons, an Uncle Fester lookalike named Brain Guy. In short, because of the existence of Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, the face of the entire show changed completely.
My final verdict? Well, I'm torn.
Honestly, I kind of wish there was a complete time paradox that gave us 2 alternate universes. One where Joel got to keep hosting the show into infinity, and one that still gave us all of Mike's episodes.
But I know that's impossible, so at the end of the day, I don't resent Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie. It didn't need to happen, but I'm okay with the fact that it is a thing that exists.
It may be a woefully watered-down version of the show, but it's funny enough and perfectly enjoyable. I laughed out loud throughout the experience, and honestly love the big-budget look of the host segments. Sure, they're nowhere near as charming as the TV sets, but it's always a beautiful thing when talented, creative people are given plenty of money.
And while I do feel bad for everyone involved and hate that it tore the cast apart, I don't hate the changes that resulted in the show.
Joel calls his departure from Mystery Science Theater a personal tragedy, and I do feel very badly for him that he wasn't able to stay with the show he created and see it through to the end. That said, the Mike era produced some of my favorite episodes. I love what he did with the show. I love Mary Jo Pehl as the villain, and I love Bill Corbett as Crow and Brain Guy, none of which would have happened if Joel and Trace had stayed on the show.
Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, is one gigantic what could have been in the MST universe. What would the show have looked like if the movie had never happened? We'll never know, of course, but at least the show was picked up by the Sci-Fi Channel for 3 more awesome seasons, and at least it did spawn 2 very successful spin-offs, Cinema Night Titanic and Riff Tracks. Since this is technically a review of a movie, I suppose I should give it a rating. I give it 2.5 stars out of 4. If you're not a fan of the show, I honestly can't imagine what you get out of this, and I do still think it was a mistake to pander to a larger audience when most of what made the show great to begin with ended up cut from the final product.
All that happens is it's still largely inaccessible to new viewers, and also a disappointment for longtime fans who expect more from both the riffs and the host segments. That said, it's not a horrible example of what Mystery Science Theater can be. It's a fun riff with some memorable host segments and definitely worth the price for the special features. Check it out if you haven't already.
I'm eternally optimistic, and I will catch you guys next time.
In the not too distant future, way down in deep 13, the evil Dr. Forrester was hatching a nasty scheme.